Laughter, one of the most familiar yet least understood of the body's responses. Scientific examination reveals it to be a mystery, its role in human behavior unknown. Recent evidence indicates that laughter may be linked somehow to our mysterious ability to heal ourselves. Is laughter capable of keeping us well?
What occurs when a person laughs is a sudden mental explosion.
I would rather have a comedian with me when I'm feeling badly than a doctor.
What is the importance of laughter? Could it be linked to survival itself? Come with us now as we go in search of laugh therapy. In India, a man's wrists are deeply burned, then smeared with a mustard paste as a therapy against an illness.
There's no rational explanation as to why that would work other than that the patient would believe that it would work.
Dr. Ari Keev has traveled the world in search of an understanding of therapeutic practices. By simply believing in the therapy, this man's mind helps him to heal. Can we ascribe healing powers such as these to other forms of therapy?
I think what's exciting about what we've been learning from studying the primitives is that at the same time that we're making great advances in molecular biology, we're also becoming aware of the tremendous power of the mind, the power of positive thinking, the power of faith, all of which, when integrated, will open up a new era in the treatment of psychiatric as well as physical illness.
From around the world, we learn of strange therapies that seem to be impossible, yet they do work. Some researchers in our own country have invented unusual tools in an attempt to heal the sick. This strange device cured many people at the turn of the century, yet it actually does nothing but emit a blue spark. When a treatment has no explainable medical basis for affecting health, but somehow does, it is called a placebo. Dr. A.K. Shapiro has spent the last 20 years investigating the so-called placebo effect.
The placebo is probably connected and related to the will to live, the will to get better. It's probably a built-in genetic mechanism that helped mankind survive. It's omnipresent. Everybody's subject to it. It's very difficult to recognize. It's probably universal.
Dr. Shapiro has assembled a collection of placebos that rivals that of the Smithsonian. Some of the items that have been used over the years stretch the imagination.
The most magnificent placebo in all of history, without qualification, is the unicorn horn. And the reason for that is that it was the most expensive treatment in the whole history of medicine. During the Middle Ages, people paid $500,000 for this unicorn horn because it cured everything. It was the most excellent aphrodisiac. And of course, only the royalty could afford to buy such a thing. The people also had a treatment which involved bathing the unicorn in water, and they drank unicorn water for pennies. Here is a powdered unicorn horn, which I bought in Japan in a herbalist shop. Here's an aphrodisiac recommended by Maimonides, which consists of a hollowed-out carrot into which you urinate. And it's a cure for impotence, which he wrote about in his volume or work on the treatment of sexual disorders. Here's Hirudo medicinalis, that's a leech, which were extensively used in treatment to, again, withdraw the bad from the inside. These were all placebos used in the past.
We asked Dr. Shapiro whether using laughter could be a placebo therapy.
It is possible that laughter, like anything else, can be a placebo for the person who would respond to laughter therapeutically. However, for other people, it may not be a placebo at all. In fact, for some people, they may get uptight about that and be upset about it and feel worse or have a negative placebo effect.
Without a placebo to help it along, can our mind cure illness? At the Lafayette Clinic in Detroit, a woman learns to control body functions that are normally beyond her control by a therapy called biofeedback. Sensitive monitoring equipment provides a signal or feedback from her body's responses, enabling her to reverse the symptoms of a painful condition known as Raynaud's disease.
They start to get white at the fingertips and then go all the way up to the knuckles. Then they would get like a brilliant red. Then they would turn a purplish color, which is really scary. And that's when the numbness would set in, and they looked ugly.
Project Director Dr. Robert Friedman explains how biofeedback works.
Biofeedback involves electronically monitoring and feeding back to the patient or subject information about a particular physiological function, so that the patient hopefully can eventually learn to bring that function under his own control, eventually without the use of the machinery. Our work with biofeedback in Raynaud's disease tells us that at least in some cases, it's possible for people to control their physiological processes and thereby abort or turn around certain disease processes. Whether or not this is merely due to a placebo effect or whether it's due to some true intrinsic effects of biofeedback really remains to be determined by future research.
Whether a placebo or not, this woman is using a form of therapy that allows her to use her mind to become well. But if burning wrists and electronics can be therapies, what else might work?